What's going on, guys? Pete Nova here with the Face Off Sports Network. I am back. It is Thursday night. We have Thursday night football, and Cardinals taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Um, should be a good one, but Seattle favored on the road by 1.5 points. Super excited to be here with you guys tonight. I'm going to go over matchup by matchup, and I'm going to drop my rankings. So each game I'm going to talk about where I have the players, the important players for fantasy ranked in my rankings. While doing that, I'm also going to answer your questions as well. So it's going to be a conjunction of kind of just rolling back and forth to help you guys out. And yeah, got my Broncos hat on. I'm here solo, not a problem at all, though, and super excited to be here with you guys. I do see a decent amount of comments loading up. What I'm going to go ahead and do first is I'm going to start answering these live comments, and then I will start getting into the game by game. So I'll answer a couple here first, then I'll go to the first game, and then I'll start periodically answering them while we're in the games here. So let me throw on some background music here. I don't know how loud that is. All right, I think that should be good. If it's too loud, let me know. Greg is in the house. We got a lot of people up in here. Jeff Rogers. We'll start with Jeff first. Jeff said, I am going back and forth between who to flex, Jordan Mason, Cam Scadaboo, full PPR. My starters are CMC, James Cook. Please help. Thank you so much. Yeah, this one's easy for me. It's Jordan Mason. Yeah, Jordan Mason for sure. It's a matchup against a Steelers team that, you know, the Steelers defense hasn't been that great this year. I have them decently high in my rankings this year, but overall I have Mason at 14. I have Scadaboo at 24. That's a Chargers matchup that's a Giants matchup against the Chargers that is going to be pretty tough. When looking at the matchups here, Scadaboo playing against the Chargers. Chargers are 28th when it comes to the easiest matchup. So they're the fourth hardest matchup for running backs. Jordan Mason, his matchup is 17th. The Steelers are giving up 0.1 points above average to the position for running backs. So it's an average matchup for Mason, but Player Profiler has him projected at 17.2 points. And as I talked, I'm a little bit lower on him than they are. I have him at 14, and I have Scadaboo at 24. Appreciate that. Jonathan Santiago said Pickens, Sutton, Tyreek, start 2 PPR. Yeah, I'm going to start Sutton and I'm going to start Pickens here. It's kind of close, though. Let me just double check. Okay, sorry. No, I would go with Tyreek and I would go with Pickens and I would sit Sutton. Sutton's got a great matchup, so it's hard to not start him. I think the guy I'm worried about the most here is George Pickens. Against Green Bay, everyone is, there's no CeeDee Lamb, but this is not an easy matchup against a tough defense. But I do have Pickens ranked the highest just because of that volume that I expect him to get. Pickens, though, if we check out his matchup, he's going up against the 28th. So fourth hardest defense when it comes to points allowed to the position at the wide receivers. But so I honestly would be okay with sitting Pickens. I know I have him ranked higher, but I think he's the riskiest one of the three. But I do think he has the biggest chance for the most volume of these guys. I'm going to lower this because I feel like it's pretty loud. Maybe I'm tripping. If it's not, let me know. And yeah, that's how I look at it. I could easily move Pickens behind both of them. I know CeeDee Lamb's not there, but he's not CeeDee Lamb. So putting him where CeeDee Lamb normally would be, which CeeDee would be top 5 normally, I just can't. There's going to be a solid drop off. I actually think Jake Ferguson's going to be that number 1 target for Dak Prescott. With the absence of CeeDee Lamb. Tyreek Hill or Pearsall, Kelsey or Hunter Henry, thank you. Yeah, I like Tyreek over Pearsall. I do like Pearsall a lot this week. I'm ahead of consensus on Ricky Pearsall. But yeah, I'm not starting him over Tyreek. It's Jags matchup. Jags defense has been pretty good this year. Travis Kelsey, I have ranked number 8. Hunter Henry, I have ranked at 6. So I would start Hunter Henry. He's really the most reliable target, in my opinion, in this offense right now. I was high on Hunter Henry. He was a top 12 tight end for me in the pre-draft process coming into the season. And he's been good. He had one down week in week 2 where he only had 1.9. But I think he might have been dealing with something injury wise. There were some talks during the week. But I mean, last week, 8 receptions, 90 yards, and 2 total touchdowns on 11 targets. He had 8 targets in week 1. He's been really, really good. And he's giving over 20% target share. And so he's a playmaker on an offense that still needs playmakers. Diggs is not really lighting the world on fire. All right, let's see. We do have a super chat that just came in. Jared Fortin said, PPR, Kyler or Tua, wide receiver, and maybe that's Debo or Waddle. I will answer this with Kyler for sure. Definitely going Kyler over Tua. I guess I would be curious, Jared. Let me know, is that Debo or Waddle? You can send in a regular chat. Is that Debo or Waddle? DK. Okay. DK Metcalf. So DK Metcalf, I have ranked. I don't have DK very high. I have DK at wide receiver 35. I have Waddle at wide receiver 37. I want to have DK higher, but it's a tough matchup, Minnesota. And I also just don't love international games. They tend to be lower scoring in my opinion. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to go to the first game and then I'll continue to answer questions. Obviously, if you send in a super chat, I will grab that question for you. And you'll jump in front of the line, but I'm going to go to the first game here. I don't know if I like this view or let's see. I think I kind of like this one better. Actually, maybe that one. Maybe that one. All right. So first game here. This is tonight's game, of course. You have Seattle going up against the Arizona Cardinals. A divisional game. Both teams 2-1 here. Seahawks are averaging 29 points per game, and honestly, they could have scored more last week against the Saints. They take on the Cardinals. Cardinals 20.7 points per game. That offense is very streaky. That they're going to have games where they're really good, and they're going to have games where they're just like really frustrating to watch. From a point differential standpoint, Seattle scoring a ton of points, and their defense has been phenomenal. So they're number 2 in the league in point differential. Now they did play the Saints, but so did the Cardinals. So I mean, they both these teams played the Saints. Now, in terms of the fantasy matchups and the players that I have in this game, so I have. Let's just start with the quarterbacks. Hold on, let me see. Joe Carlton said. I'll come back to the matchups. Joe Carlton said $5 super chat. Appreciate it, Joe. He said Caleb Williams or Bo Nix. I have Caleb Williams ahead of Nix this week. I have Caleb Williams as my quarterback 5. That says a lot. I love Bo Nix. I think this is a bounce back week for him. Caleb Williams, you might say, yeah, Dallas's defense is just not that good. That's why he had a good game last week. But I mean, it's not like the Raiders are, very good either. And so I like this matchup for Caleb Williams. He's taking on the Raiders, who are 8th when it comes to points allowed to the quarterback position. Player Profiler has him projected for 21.5 points. Implied Vegas total for that team is 23.5. So yeah, Caleb Williams coming off a 29.1 point outing, and looked really, really good last week. So we'll see if he can continue that. I definitely am not digging this camera view. I think that might be a little bit better. Joe, I appreciate the super chat, man. Obviously, like I said, guys, I'm going to get to some of your other questions. Once I finish this game, I'll take a break, go to the comments, and then keep going back and forth. For the quarterbacks in this game, Kyler Murray, I have at 13. Kyler Murray, he again, another player that's pretty streaky. I am higher on consensus when it comes to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's been really good this year so far. I have Sam Darnold at 17. Let's go over to the running back position. we do have the news that Charbonnet is going to play this week. With Zach Charbonnet, I have him at 31. Kenneth Walker, I have at running back 20. They are obviously taking on the Arizona Cardinals this week. And when we look at this matchup from the running back standpoint, Walker and Charbonnet going up against Arizona. Arizona's 10th when it comes to points allowed to the running back position. They're giving up 1.7 points above average. With Charbonnet playing, it definitely tempers expectations for Kenneth Walker a little bit. I still think he can have a good game tonight. I'm going to be very curious to see how that split goes. Then at the wide receiver, you probably want to know about Trey Benson because everybody wants to know about Trey Benson. I have Trey Benson as my running back 26. Now, I say that because look, in many situations, you're probably not benching Trey Benson, guys. It's going to be very hard to find running backs that are going to get you that kind of volume, right? We know he's going to get us a ton of volume. I did post on Twitter though, when it comes to Trey Benson, I said, temper your expectations, right? This is a guy that's had a lot of explosive runs this year, which is 10 plus yards. He's 8th highest rate. So 14.3% of his runs have been explosives for 10 plus yards. I don't really care about the miles per hour. That doesn't really matter too much to me, but that was just a neat little part of next gen stats. But he's got a lot of explosives, but he's also been the change of pace between him and James Conner. Now that James Conner's gone, look, DeMarcado, or however you pronounce his name, he very much could be involved tonight and be frustrating. Everybody assumes this is a one-man band now with Trey Benson, but I'm not completely sold on that. I do have a lot of Benson in a lot of spots. I did draft him on my bench for this potential reason, but Seattle, when it comes to their run defense, just 2 explosive runs, right? So just 2.4% of their runs are going for 10 plus yards on defense. The lowest explosive rush rate by a defense in a single season since 2016. Now it is early. I don't expect that to hold up. Now, a lot of people will point out that, Seattle has, a lot of people will point out that Seattle has given up a decent amount of running points to the running back position. I will make sure to remind people, though, Seattle, they've played against Christian McCaffrey. They've played against Jalen Warren. They've played against Alvin Kamara. Christian McCaffrey is leading the NFL for running backs for targets, which is not a surprise. But he's got over a 25% target share, and so they played Christian McCaffrey already, right? Of course, it's a small sample size, 3 games. Then you also have Jalen Warren, who had that really big reception against them and caught a few passes. You also had Kenny Gainwell that caught a few as well. Last week, though, they only gave up 3 catches for 23 yards against a Saints offense that has good pass catching backs, and they were trailing in that game. So just keep that in mind when people are saying, Benson should be a smash play tonight. I'm not super convinced, and Seattle's getting a ton of reinforcements back. They're getting a lot of players back on defense, and this is also a Cardinals offense that has 4 offensive linemen that are starters that are on the injury report that are questionable. So I think there's a good chance they play, but it's just, again, something to keep note of. Now, moving on to the wide receivers, and then I'll get to some questions here. Wide receiver position, Jackson Smith-Njigba is my wide receiver too. I don't have to really go too deep into that. When it comes to Marvin Harrison Jr., guys, I have Marv as my wide receiver 33. Marv is pretty much a flex play at this point, guys. Wide receiver 33 feels kind of generous for him. Player Profiler has him ranked at 47, projecting for 10 points tonight. It's a tough matchup. Seattle right now, 31 when it comes to points allowed to the running back, to the wide receiver position. And that's without many guys in their secondary that have been injured and not playing. So I have concerns there. Outside of that, you have Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp I have as my, as my wide receiver 49. I have Torrey Horton, a little bit high in my rankings, not super high, 54. And then the other ancillary pieces you don't really care about in that wide receiver room for the Cardinals. And then for tight ends, I have Trey McBride here at 5. There's a possibility that he definitely outpaces this. I was kind of going back and forth. I was like, man, maybe I shouldn't have him that low. There's a lot of juicy matchups for tight ends this week, and Trey McBride probably gets one of the best. Excuse me. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's a little bit of my feel on tonight's game. I think Seattle is going to beat the ever living crap out of the Cardinals tonight. That's my read on this game. I think Seattle has just looks really good. I think the Cardinals have skated by. A 2-1 record really doesn't tell the whole story for this team. You know, they've played the Saints. They played the 49ers with Mac Jones as the quarterback, who was missing Juwan Jennings. They really haven't had that tough of a schedule. And you might say the same. I guess Seattle has had the Saints and the 49ers as well. But ultimately, I think the Seattle team is better by a lot. By a lot, at least this point in the season so far. All right, so let's go ahead and move over to some questions here. And then I'll get back to the next game. KJ Frederick said, "What's up? Better spot start Bateman, Thornton, or Demarcus Robinson if Jennings is out in a full PPR?" I'm gonna probably say Bateman. I don't really like either. I'm assuming this is Thornton. Is it Tyquan Thornton? If it's Tyquan Thornton, I can maybe get my head around it. You know, I have him pretty low. I think I have to bump him up my rankings. I can get my head around Thornton, but ultimately I'm starting Bateman. He's my wide receiver 62 this week. I think you're in a pretty tough spot starting any of these guys, though. Iggy said, "Who do I start in my running back 2 spot, Benson or Scadaboo?" I prefer Scadaboo over Benson. I think they're going to be playing from behind. I think he's going to catch some passes. So I would roll out with Scadaboo. Auburn said, "This is timely. I just sent you a DM." Perfect. Mooney said, I'm sorry, Mark said Mooney or Addison. Yeah, I like Mooney this week. I'll take Mooney over Addison. Greg's in the house. What's up, Greg? Mike's at half PPR. Marvin Harrison Jr., Waddle, DJ Moore, or Swift for the flex spot. Half PPR definitely makes it a little more interesting here. I have Marv higher in PPR at 33 and Waddle at 37. I have DJ Moore at 27. I'm going to go with DJ Moore here. I think there's a chance he scores a touchdown. That offense is probably the hotter offense of the options you're giving me here. And I don't want to start Swift in a non PPR out of these guys. Patrick said, "Thoughts on the Terry injury?" Yeah, I don't think he's playing. I would say I think it's concerning. You know, we're hearing that, you know, Terry McLaurin is getting a second opinion, and you don't really want to hear that. You know, when you're talking about a guy that's dinged up. If he's looking for a second opinion, that usually means that the first opinion wasn't a good one. And so I'm not very confident that he's definitely not playing. I don't think this week. SW Elbow said, "Evening Pete, Kyler or Justin Fields, 6 point for touchdowns for quarterback scores." I assume that means passing touchdowns. Yeah, I have Justin Fields over Kyler Murray this week. I have Justin Fields at 11. I have Kyler at 13. Justin Fields scares the hell out of me, but that defense for the Dolphins is not very good. Now they could bounce back this week, but I'm going to go with Justin Fields. Auburn said, "Need advice. Have Kyler and Jaden. Do I start Kyler tonight or hope that Jaden plays Sunday? Aaron Rodgers as a backup." Yeah. I do not start Kyler over Jaden. I do have concerns about Jaden. I have him as my quarterback 9 this week against Atlanta. I would hold out. Don't start Kyler. I would hold out, and then I would be fine picking up Mariota. Mariota is running. He's giving us yards on the ground. We saw last week for a guy at his age, and with no Terry, you know, there's a chance he runs even more. So I'm going to start. I would start Mariota in if Jaden's out, unless there's better options on the wire. So I would not start Kyler over. I would hold out and see what happens. Nathan said, "Hey Pete, I'm going to bench Chase for Pearsall this week if Jennings doesn't play. They call me a madman. What do you think?" I don't think it's that crazy. What I would say is Jamar had a decent game against Denver last year. So, I mean, I know Patrick Surtain. Look, Pat rolled his ankle against the Colts. He got a tough game against them, where coverage was there, but Daniel Jones was just daring him and throwing it in some tight windows. And then, last week against Quentin Johnson, he had a pretty solid game against Pat too. Last year, Jamar had 19.2 points against this defense. Now, it was Joe Burrow as the quarterback. So yeah, I'm going to tell you this, like, most people would say start your studs, start your studs, start your studs. But, in this situation, Jamar's going up against one of, if not the best secondaries in the NFL with a backup quarterback. Brock Purdy coming back. He has a connection with Pearsall, and Jennings has a chance not to play. I wouldn't tell you that's a crazy move. I know many people would say it's crazy, but I'm comfortable enough to say it's not. I have Chase at 11, and honestly, I have Ricky Pearsall at 20, and that's assuming Jennings plays. If Jennings doesn't play, Pearsall might bump up even higher. So I don't think it's that crazy, but I understand it feels like it's the safer play to go with Chase because Chase can win you a week. Pearsall right now hasn't shown us that he can, but at the same time, he also has a much better quarterback. Zach Linton's in the house. What's up, buddy? Zach Linton, and I'll get to you, Blue Crew. He said, Geno, Fields, Caleb need 2 6-point passing touchdowns. Yeah, I'm going with Fields and I'm going with Caleb. I know Geno's a good start this week as well. I have Caleb in my top 5. And I have Fields as my quarterback 11 this week. Blue Crew said, should I trade a Dunze for James Cook in a full PPR? I have strong wide receivers, Njigba, St. Brown, Pickens, but I need RB help. Pollard. Yeah, you're doing that for sure. James Cook's been phenomenal. And the one thing about Cook is that his usage is up, right? Last year, we saw Cook at a 58% in terms of his opportunity share. This year, he's up over 70. And the touchdowns, it's not just the touchdowns for him that's scoring him fantasy points. He's doing it with the actual yardage and the receptions and everything else, where last year 50% of James Cook's points in fantasy was due to touchdowns. So got to give him his flowers. He's also, holding off the other 2 guys in that backfield. So I would make this deal. Your running back room definitely needs help, and you can definitely afford to do that. Lions or Vikings defense, I like the Vikings more this week. They're going up against Aaron Rodgers. I have the Vikings at 4. I have the Lions at 5. The one thing I would say about the Lions to keep in mind is that the Lions have good matchups back-to-back weeks here. I believe – I'm looking at the Vikings schedule right now first. Vikings also have a good schedule too. I mean, they play the Browns next week, but then they have a bye, and then they play the Eagles and the Chargers and the Lions, and then the Ravens. It doesn't get much easier for a while. If you look at the Lions schedule, they play the Browns, and then they play the Bengals next week, and then they play the Chiefs, who still won't have Rashee Rice at that point. So I mean, I prefer the Lions for over the next couple of weeks over the Vikings. They're 2 very close defenses, so I would keep that in mind. That they're back to back in my rankings for this week. So I would use not a tiebreaker because I do have the Vikings ahead of them this week, but I would look at it and say, well, you know what? Lions are also going to be I'm able to start them the next couple of weeks. You can start the Vikings next week, but then after that, you're not going to be able to for a while, and they're probably droppable for a while. They're not going to have a really good matchup coming up after that. Sleeper said, what does everyone think about this trade? Tyreek and Javonte Williams for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Absolutely love it. Good move. Hugh Joss said, start 2 running back, wide receiver, flex, PPR, Genty, Walker, Benson, Tet McMillan, and George Pickens. Starting 2 here. I'm going to start Genty. If it ain't going to happen for Genty this week, I don't know when it's going to happen because this is a damn good matchup for him. I have Walker a higher than Benson, but I do like Tet and I do like Pickens this week. But you need 1 wide receiver, 1 flex. Okay, so you're sitting 1 guy here. So the answer for me is Benson. You're sitting Benson for me in this spot. Now, you could get burned a little bit because Charbonnet, he's back from his injury. I don't know how much time he's going to get, but I like the matchup more for Walker, and I like the player more than I do Benson. So I would go with that. Jared Fortin said Kyler versus Seattle, Tua versus the Jets. Okay, we did answer that. That was the super chat. Mark said Ravens, Packers, Rams, or Pats defense this week. I'm going with the Packers. Going with the Packers. Cowboys are banged up. Rex said, I have Kyler and Jaden Daniels. Do I start Kyler tonight or just hope Jaden? I would hope Jaden Daniels plays. You can also pick up Mariota. We got the same question, but this is a different person. Interesting. So I guess a couple guys. Oh, wait, no. Wait. I have no idea. Maybe I answered you. Maybe I did. It might have been somebody else. Who knows? Sorry about that. Let's see. Scroll back up here. Paul, what's going on, man? I'm gonna assume PPR. If you don't tell me the format, I always assume PPR because that's the most common one. Choose two: Jordan Payson, Chase Brown, Judkins, Scattaboo. I don't love Judkins this week, guys. He's going to be playing in a game script that's likely going to feature having to throw the football and play from behind, and I don't know how much they're going to use him in the pass game. I have him at 29. I actually have him behind Trevion Henderson this week. So definitely no on Judkins. Definitely yes on Chase Brown and Mason. I could be swayed into starting Scattaboo over Chase Brown, but I'm definitely starting Mason. Chase Brown, I get it. Really tough matchup this week against Denver. That offensive line is terrible, and that defense is probably going to eat that offensive line up. The one caveat I would say is that Denver's linebackers are really bad at covering running backs out of the backfield, and Chase Brown is very good out of the backfield as a receiver. So there is some hope there, but I am worried. I have Brown at 22. I have Genty at, I'm sorry, Dempsey doesn't matter. He's not. That was the question before. Yeah, I have Brown at 22. I have Scattaboo at 24. So again, not a far drop off. I just worry that game could that they can get away in that game, and then I don't know how much they're going to fucking pull out Devin Singletary in the pass game. I doubt it. Scattaboo looks like he's going to be that guy. I have Jordan Mason at 14. So you're starting Mason. Let's see. Don't sit Sutton. Yeah, I would not sit Sutton as well. Iggy said Hunter Henry or Jawan this week. So this is tough. Both these guys have been really, really hot. I have Hunter Henry at 6. I have Jawan Johnson at 7. I would say I think Jawan Johnson has a tougher matchup. The linebackers for Buffalo are much better than the linebackers for Carolina. That's how I look at it, and that's why I have Henry one spot above Jawan. Henry will also be in a more competitive game. Jawan is going to be playing from behind the most part, so he might get a lot of garbage time. We'll see, but it's very hard to sit Jawan. Jawan is the safer play. I think Henry has the higher ceiling because you can count on him to score touchdowns. We're not really there just yet for that Saints offense. Alvaro said Worthy, Cup, Coleman to start this week. Yeah, sad face for sure, man. Yeah, that's tough. Let me take a look and just see where I settled on Worthy in my rankings. Yeah, I have Worthy at 57. I mean, they're saying he's going to wear a shoulder brace, a harness, and he might be a decoy this week. These are bad options either way. Cup I have at 49, so I have Cup ahead of him, and I have Keon Coleman at. I think I have Coleman. Yeah, I have Coleman 2 spots ahead of Cup at 47. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really love starting any of these Bills wide receivers in this game because they might absolutely throttle them. I would say, I think Coleman has the higher ceiling, so that's why I have him higher in my rankings. But I think Cup is the better, safer play if you're looking for safe. So that's how I look at it. Let's see. We buy homes near you. 512. What's up, man? Said in non-PPR, I'm starting Kyler, Danny Dimes, or Gino this week, looking for upside going against Jalen Hurts. Yeah, I mean, upside, Kyler, I guess. I do have concerns about Kyler this week, but I do have him the highest ranked guy. So if you're looking for upside, boom, bust, I would go with Kyler. Let's see. Oh, sorry, Sean. Judkins, Kamara, or ETN for this week PPR. I would say Kamara. I would go with Kamara. Yeah, I would go with Kamara. Walker versus Hampton starts sit. You're starting Hampton. Should I start Bo next to Drake May? I would start Drake May. PPR Jason Poole said PPR Mason or Brees with CMC. Who should I start with? Nico, Keenan, T-Mac, Ricky, or Sutton? Flex one. Yeah, so I'm starting Sutton. So I don't know how many questions this is. Okay, so Mason or Brees? I'm starting Brees. I have him one spot ahead of Mason. Now for the wide receiver part of it, you're starting Nico, and then you're saying who should I start with them? Assuming one wide receiver here, Keenan, T Mac, or Ricky or Sutton. I'm starting Sutton. And then flex one, Juwan, Judkins, T Mac, Ricky. So this is okay. And so this is the same question. So I can technically okay. So um, it's either Ricky or T Mac. Or you could go Mason. I have Mason the highest ranked. Yeah, I would go with Mason. I would go Mason in the flex. What are some good streaming defenses this week? All the usual suspects are already picked up off waivers, looking for some hidden gems. Yeah, I think if you're looking for a hidden gem, I think the Jaguars could be sneaky. There is risk there. I'm not going to tell you that there's not. The Rams are sneaky too. You might roll out the Rams if you're banking on maybe Daniel Jones finally comes down to earth. So that's also a nice an interesting play. You get the Rams at home in that one too. You could consider the Falcons. I mean, their defense wasn't bad last week. It's just the offense put them in some really crappy spots. If you're looking for really deep, you could, take a chance on like Miami against the Jets. That's really scary. I have no idea which defense is going to come out to play. So that's scary, but you could. Joe said, thanks, Pete. Agree. No problem, brother. Thanks for dropping in. Carnage said Benson or ETN in a PPR league. I'm going to go with, I want to say, yeah, I would go with ETN. It's a tough run defense, but no Nick Bosa. We'll see how they respond with him gone. Albert's in the house. Go Birds. Bless you too, man. Appreciate you dropping in. Red Focus said, what's up, brother? Jason said, pick 2. Genty, Walker, Benson, ETN, Trevion. Pick 1 for the flex. Yeah, I would go with Genty here. And then the flex, Trey Tucker, Laporta, Marv, or one of the running backs above. Yeah, I would go with Walker. I would go with Walker in the flex over Marv, Laporta, Trey Tucker. Just traded Bijan. Did I lose this trade? Kyron, Adams, and Rome for Bijan and BTJ. You gave up a lot, man. That's a lot. I mean, of course, you got the best asset in the deal in Bijan. You're really banking on. Look, I mean, if BTJ becomes what we saw him be, then you're okay. But man, I mean, you teared up at running back. Adams has been phenomenal though, man. And Puka with his injury like history, the way he plays, if there's a world where he misses any time, Adams would be even better than he's been, and he's been awesome. Rome has been great too. I don't love the trade. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you got hosed. I wouldn't say that. You get the best player in the deal, and if BTJ ends up being good, he could easily be the best wide receiver. So you might have the best running back and wide receiver, for rest of the season from here on out in this deal. So that's why I'm not going to say you lost it like that, but I'd say it's even. But as it stands, I'd rather the Kyron Adams side. I'm also a huge Adams homer, and you get some variation. You don't have to start 2 guys, running back and wide receiver, on the same team. So I mean, that's a little bit of a win there. Shield said also great videos. I enjoyed the data and reasoning behind your picks for the past 2 years. Keep it up. Yeah, no problem, Shield. I appreciate it, man. Happy to bring a little bit of a different vibe to it for you. Jesse M with a super chat. Appreciate it, man. Said one. Well, he didn't say 199. He sent the 199. I need to take a sip of this beer. Okay. Trey Javonte Williams, David Montgomery, and Rashi Rice for Bijan and Matthew Golden. See chat. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything else that I'm missing that you added? Okay, you did. Okay. Half PPR, 14 team. Depth is important. Well, I don't even know. I mean, I don't want to just ultimately, I'm, when you're doing these live shows, you have a million things going through your head, right? So at the end of the day, Bijan and Golden, yes, like that is an absolute W. Let me see the rest of your team though. So you have, Uh, you have A-Chain, so you would have Bijan and A-Chain in a 14-man. Like, that's really good. And you have Benson as your RB3. I mean, yeah, I mean, you might sit there and say, oh, you're thinning your running back out, but like you go from having 4 guys to having 3. Like, you're also tearing up significantly with Bijan, and we're in this to win. And that gives you the best lineup. And you have an RB3 in Benson, and Marks is getting more time. So that looks good. And then Jettas, Sutton, Egbuka, Rice, Tillman, Boutte. Yeah, you're going to have some issues thinning out here, though. That's the one concern, right? With Rice leaving, no, I mean, that's still fine. Tillman as your wide receiver 4 with Jettas, Sutton, and Egbuka. You're totally good. That's a good trade for you. I like that a lot. Okay. Let me scroll back up and see where we were at. Appreciate the super chat, Jesse. Let's see. George said, good sir, tough one. Pearsall or Benson? I'm going Pearsall. Josh, Benson for the volume if you want to save play, Pearsall for the upside. Benson, Ladd, Olave, half PPR start 1. I'm starting Ladd McConkey. Yeah, I'm starting Ladd McConkey. I think there's a lot of talk about Ladd right now. He's a guy I want to buy. I think they might make it a point to get him in the end zone this week, especially 2 weeks in a row. I think this time he gets into the end zone this week. PPR, Kamara or Pearsall. I'm going to go with Kamara just strictly on the volume alone. I mean, he didn't even play the full game last week, and he got like 20 opportunities, just not catching a ton of passes like we want. And he's going to be in a game script where he's playing from behind, so he should hopefully catch passes. Red Focus, Khalil Shakir, Pearsall, Jordan Mason, Xavier Worthy. Easy for me. Pearsall and Jordan Mason. Don't overthink this. Do not put Xavier Worthy in the lineup over any of those, over Pearsall and Mason. And Shakir, Bills wide receivers, we can't trust right now. Just can't. Michael Diaz said full PPR. Walker, Hampton, RB sit start. Yeah, I'm starting Hampton. Giants run defense has just been Swiss cheese. Amazon said, should I trade Jamar Chase for JSN straight up? I would not. At this point in time, I think the JSN breakout is an ascension is for real right now. And Jamar, while it's Jamar Chase, I prefer JSN rest of the season with that quarterback situation. Yeah, I would go with JSN. Let's see. We do have a super chat from Josh. What's up, Josh? $5 super chat. Appreciate it, man. Full PPR 3 flex. I have Kyron, Amara, and Hampton, Pollard, and Jordan Mason, Nico Jettas, Devontae, Rome, Ricky. I cannot believe that you're 0-3. Yeah, unless this is like an 8-man where other teams somehow are better than this, because this is really good. I mean, to be fair, Amar and Hampton and Mason didn't really get going until last week, so I can understand that. Full PPR. No, I can't. I guess this isn't a question. You're just 3 flex. I don't know if you're asking anything or you're just popping in and just throwing in a super chat. But don't know who to start. Okay. 3 flex. How many running backs can you start? How many wide receivers can you start? Well, tell me a little bit more. I'll get back to you. Just send it back and I'll come right back to you. Yeah, just come right back. Just tell me how many can you start? I see 3 flex, but is it, you can choose from all of these for the flex? Is it two running back, 2 wide receivers, 3 flex? Like, just, I need a little more context and I'll come back to you. So just shoot that back over and I'll come right back. Let me scroll back up. Man, you guys, so many questions tonight. What defense should I start, Vikings or Lions? I like the Vikings this week. I like the Lions over the next few weeks, though, and they're back-to-back for me. Okay, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 3 flex. Okay. So Kyron and Amara and Hampton. I'm flexing Jordan Mason. The 2 wide receivers, you're going with Devontae and Nico for sure. Jefferson for sure. Rome for sure. So that gives you Kyron, Hampton, 2 running backs. Let's just say Nico and Jettas, 2 wide receivers, and then you need 3 from there. Jordan Mason in the flex. Devontae Adams in the flex, and Rome Odunze in the flex. I have Rome really freaking high this week, guys. I have Rome Odunze as my wide receiver 9. I have Nico Collins as my wide receiver 8, Rome as my wide receiver 9, Jefferson as wide receiver 6, Devontae Adams as my wide receiver 5 this week, and I have Puka at wide receiver 1. I love it. So yeah, I think that's good, man. That's how I would roll. If you have any follow up questions, I'll come back to you. But appreciate the super chat. I don't know if that's your first time dropping a super chat, but I appreciate it. Archie Sports has a free square Darnold at 0.5 passing yards. Pick them if anyone's looking for a parlay piece. Nice. I actually did not know RT Sports does sports betting, so that's interesting. Appreciate that, Mr. Grapefruit. Good to see you, man. Dahoma said, should I start Benson or Brees this week? Brees. Appreciate it, Pete. Thinking the same. No problem, Nathan. John 3-2 said half PPR start to Olave, Pickens, K9, and Ladd. I'm starting Pickens, and I'm starting Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker and Pickens. Mr. Grapefruit said they also have a Trey Benson's rushing yards at 60.5 when other places have him at 58.5. Bovada users think they go under. Yeah, I would take Benson under 60.5. It's a really good run defense in Seattle. PPSA Bros said I have Jamar CD. CD is out, and my flex is either Chase Brown or Quinshon Judkins. Should I trade one for a receiver because my backup wide receiver is Trey Tucker? And well, I would start Chase Brown in the flex for starters. I wouldn't make a move just yet. Trey Tucker's a backup wide receiver. He's not starting. CeeDee Lamb, trading him now does nothing for you unless your starting wide receivers are not very good. I don't know who your other guys are outside of Jamar, but you can wait on this. Chase Brown in the flex. And yeah, I mean, I would wait on it, see what happens. But I mean, when CD comes back, I'm going to prefer him over Jamar rest of the season. And you might be able to stay afloat until then, and then trade Jamar after if you really needed to upgrade that room. So that's how I would look at it. Steve, what's up, buddy? My name is Steve Westoff. I'm from Sweden. The trade question: I got an offer: Genti and Devontae Adams. Hammy, should I grab them and send Chase Brown? Dude, yes. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Like, first of all, I'm not worried about the hamstring injury for Devontae. They said he's. I mean, it's Sean McVay, but he said that his game status won't be affected with the hamstring. You're getting the best player in the deal here. I think that's Devontae Adams, and Genti. I prefer Genti rest of the season over Brown and ETN still. Yeah, Steve. I think you probably know the answer here. But I appreciate the super chat. You could just text me, man. Let's see, man, there's so many questions. I wanted to get to these previews, but you guys are pounding me with questions here. All right, let me answer a couple more here, and then let me get to a preview, and then I'll come back to some questions, guys. Let me rattle off a couple really quick here. Brees Hall, DJ Moore, Brees Hall. I'll take Brees. Jaden Clear for Sunday. There you go. Perfect. Crazy idea to sit AJ Brown and for Benson and Pearsall. I would start AJ Brown. I would sit Benson out of these three. I like AJ Brown this week against that Bucs secondary. I think Dak is gonna have a good game. I can't say that I agree with you. I'm very concerned for Dak this week. They're missing a couple offensive lineman starters. Tiago said, in full PPR, should I start Benson over BTJ in my flex? Both guys are risky. I mean, Benson's going to get the volume. So if you want safe, go Benson. If you're looking for upside, go BTJ. But just know that BTJ could still not produce this week. Trip said, hey, fam, full PPR, no kicker, double flex league. Pickens in flex. One, Scattaboo or Cooper Kupp for the second flex. I'm going with Scat. Appreciate you dropping in. Frosty said, trade Pollard, Keenan Allen, and Pittman for Brees, Sutton, or Kamara and Ricky. So you could pick between Kamara and Ricky. Man, it depends who your wide receivers are. Yeah, I mean, this is I mean, I can't even believe you're being offered this. This is a great trade. Yes, you're doing this deal, but whether it's Kamara or Ricky, you got to evaluate your room. If you have a good starting running back core, I prefer Ricky over Kamara. But you got to just evaluate who you have at that. But I mean, yeah, this is an insane offer. I would be taking that really quickly. Michael Diaz said waiver wire Stafford or Purdy. Quarterback one is Baker Mayfield. Yeah, I would go with Purdy. 1-6 said Falcons got no pressure on Bryce though, which was concerning. A little bit concerning. I would agree. I'm not. That's why I'm not in love. Falcons are like my defense 20 this week. They're not in my top 20. Um, Amazon, appreciate it. Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you for dropping in. Marvin said Johnson, Chase, Metcalf, Pickens, Samuel, pick two, brother. Yeah, I mean, I'm going with Chase. I'm going with Pickens. Those are the two I would go with. I wouldn't get too cute. I would just roll with those two guys this week and live with it. I'm not in love with Metcalf's matchup. Johnson's interesting, but they could be absolutely destroying that Giants team, and it could get away from him. Game script, same with Shakir. Debo Samuel is interesting. You could flirt with Debo over Pickens. That I can maybe be convinced of, but I would still roll with Pickens and Jamar Chase. Appreciate you dropping in. Two mean fuzz with a super chat. Appreciate it. Said Sharps, Tyquan, or Hunter in the flex this week. Shoot, man. I do have to move Tyquan Thornton up in my rankings. I don't know how that must have been a mistake by me. I don't know how he got so low. I like Tyquan Thornton over Xavier Worthy this week. I like Tyquan Thornton over Travis Hunter. I'll say it. I'm starting Tyquan Thornton over Travis Hunter. Zach Charbonnet, you can maybe sway me on, but until we see it, I don't think you can put Zach Charbonnet out there right now. So I would go with Tyquan Thornton and hold your nose. That would be what I would do. Appreciate the super chat. Thanks so much. Let's see. Trey Benson or Chris Olave. Where do I have Chris Olave this week? What do I have Olave? I have Olave at 28. I have Benson. I would go with Olave. The volume is there. You could say Benson's a volume play. You could say Olave is a volume play. The difference is I think Olave has a little bit of a better matchup. I know it sounds crazy because I know people love Benson's matchup tonight, and I could be completely wrong. Iggy said Golden Benson or Metcalf, flex PPR. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go with Benson here. This is one I will go with Benson. Let's see. I have JJ and London still. Okay, well, that makes it a little bit better. See you. That makes it a little bit better. Caleb said your defense rankings are so legit. Best in the space. Appreciate that, man. Seattle versus New England. Got to ride with Seattle, but Kyler's rushing scares me. Yeah, I have the Patriots higher. I would say the Patriots are riskier, but their ceiling is higher. I would say that the Seattle has a higher ceiling, but their floor is lower. So that would be the deciding factor for me. Are you looking for upside and a little bit of risk? Then I would go at Seattle. It's been freaking phenomenal, and they're getting more reinforcements back. Or do you want to go with the Patriots, whose defense is not very good, but they're playing an absolutely terrible offense, and they're at home, which is a little bit more of a benefit too. I do like home teams. So that's kind of how I look at it. Seattle's also away. Marvin said Judkins, Kamara, A-Chain, and Pacheco. Would you put a receiver in over three of these in a running back position and flex? I don't know the question, Marvin. You might have to send it to me again, man. Reword it. I'm a little lost there. Blast me. Don't talk about Puka like that. I know. I love Puka too, man. He's the car accident waiting to happen. I mean, he's amazing. He's probably the best wide receiver in football right now. Need kill EDU. You're finally up next. You've sent this question in a million times. Just chill. I'm getting to you right now, man. Starters, quarterback, Lamar Jackson, Alvin Kamara. Okay, so what are you asking? Should I trade away Chase Brown and a Dunze for Hampton? At running back, I have Mason, Warren, Benson, Chase Brown, Kamara, and I have Jacoby Myers, London, CD, Tet, Dunze. Yeah, you can afford that. Yeah, I would do that. I think Hampton over Chase Brown rest of the season is fair. So I'm cool with that. Um, Michael Harvey, what's up, man? $2 super chat, appreciate it. Said start two Swift, DJ Moore, Scat, Judkins, or Pickens. It's definitely starting Pickens. Um, I would. I'm struggling with DJ Moore and Scat here. Uh, I think DJ Moore's got a much better game script. Uh, I think DJ Moore's ceiling's higher. I think Scat's safer. So I would go with Pickens, and then I would decide between Scat and DJ Moore. If you want ceiling, go DJ. If you want safe, I would go with Scat because I think he could still get some receptions. Playing from behind. Uh, but the matchup's much tougher. DJ Moore kind of running hot and cold right now. And he's the number 2 in that offense. So that's kind of how I look at it. Appreciate you jumping in, Mike. Really, really much appreciated. Let's see. Two Mean Fuzz with another super chat said, "What about Worthy? Or would you go Hunter or Charbonnet?" Um, okay, so your original question was Sharbs, Taekwon, or Hunter in the flex this week. I start Taekwon over Worthy this week still. I just don't trust it with Worthy. I could be completely wrong, but I just don't trust it right now with Worthy. And Taekwon looks like he looks good. Like even with these guys coming back, I think he's earned himself time. Um, so no, I would still go with Thornton. Now, if you're asking me Worthy or would you go with Hunter or Sharp in this scenario, I would go with Thornton over Hunter and Sharp. I would go, yeah. So that goes back to your original question. So yeah, I'm still going Tyquan Thornton. If it's Worthy over these two guys, I would go with Zach Charbonnet, and that really hurts to say. I don't trust Travis Hunter right now. I could be completely wrong. He just hasn't done much. These are three guys I don't trust at all. I mean, Worthy might be an absolute decoy today or this week. So that's kind of how I look at it. I appreciate the super chat. All right, where are we at? Best Ball on Call said just here to drop a like. Appreciate that, man. Let's see. Misfits, $2 super chat. Appreciate that. Said full PPR. Who to flex? Benson versus Seattle. Oh gosh, I would go with Igbuka, man. Igbuka for sure. Michael Harvey said, "Thanks, bro. Last question: Swift or Scattaboo?" Thanks for the super chat, man. Very much appreciated. Let me look at this really quick because I have Swift at 25 and I have Scat at 24. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna take a look here. Let me just give you a little more context. So Swift is going up against a negative. When it comes to like positive or negative matchup here, it's a negative. Raiders right now 23rd when it comes to points allowed to the running back position. Swift kind of running hot and cold as well. Scat's been good, man. Scat does get a tough matchup too. I mean, we're talking he gets the harder matchup here. I do like what I've seen from Scat more though. And ultimately, I think could be the better player. I mean, DeAndre Swift right now. I mean, DeAndre Swift, just looking at it real quick. I mean, he's given us 6.5, 10.9, and 7.8. And he's been given opportunities. I mean, 7 attempts, 53 yards, 12 attempts, 63 yards, 13 attempts, 33 yards. Like he's getting tons of volume. And the other thing that's keep in mind, I mean, last week against a bad Dallas defense, he only got 33 yards on 13 attempts, and his attempts went down. His attempts have gone down every week since week 1. And he's still getting the same amount of receptions. Now, last week he did have 4 receptions for 45. But again, it seems like he's losing a little bit every single week, losing a little bit more, and Scat's playing with momentum right now. So I would go with Scattaboo. Hey, man, I appreciate the super chat, especially if you're a new new follower, subscriber. We appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. Um, let's see, where are we? Man, I'm supposed to get to these previews for these games, man. You guys are killing me. I'm gonna take a pause on questions just for a few here, guys. I'm gonna go through some of these games because that's kind of what I wanted to do tonight. And then I will answer questions as I'm going through some of these, and some of these might actually answer questions for you. So let's move on to Minnesota and the Pittsburgh Steelers. So Minnesota, Pittsburgh Steelers in this one. You have 2-1 Steelers going up against 2-1 Vikings. Points are always kind of weird in these international games. For the quarterbacks here in this one, not much to talk about. I mean, I don't want to start Carson Wentz or Rodgers. 26 and 27 in terms of my rankings is where I have both those guys. Jordan Mason, I have Jordan Mason at 14. I think it's a solid matchup for him. I have Jalen Warren at 17, so I like the running backs in this matchup here. Wide receiver, DK Metcalf is the one guy to probably key in on here. I have him ranked at 35. This is a tough matchup for Metcalf. Metcalf, I believe, and I'm pulling it up here. Metcalf, he's going up against the hardest defense when it comes to allowing points to the wide receivers. They're projecting him on Player Profiler for 12.1 points, and Metcalf right now going up against a defense that's allowing 13.8 points below average to the opponents or to the wide receiver position. So, I mean, it's a really tough matchup for DK this week. So that's where I have that. Justin Jefferson, I mean, it's hard to put him low. I have him at 6. The one thing about the Steelers is that their defense not very good, and ultimately, that they're ball hawks, so they'll give up some big plays, but they'll also make some plays too. Addison, you're not starting Addison really this week. I have him at 52. I'm not starting Addison this week. I would start him over Hunter. I'd start him over Travis Hunter, Xavier Worthy. An interesting name, Parker Washington, too. Going back to that question about Tyquan Thornton and all those guys before for that super chat, I have Parker Washington ahead of Tyquan, Travis Hunter, and Xavier Worthy. So I would maybe consider doing that. It's a sneaky little play. At the tight end position, TJ Hawkinson goes up against the Pittsburgh Steelers in this one. I got to move Hawkinson up in my rankings. I'm moving him up ahead of Kelsey. I'll probably actually move him up at 6 ahead of Hunter Henry. So some of these adjustments happen on the fly, but TJ Hawkinson, he's had a large target share. Now keep in mind, that Jordan Addison's back, and so you sit there and say, is he going to eat into some of those touches? But I mean, they just gave up 2 touchdowns to Hunter Henry. It's the number 3 when it comes to most advantageous matchup for the tight end position. 7 points above average to the position right now, and it's a little inflated, of course, because of Hunter Henry. The other tight ends in this game, I'm not starting them. I mean, for Pat Freiermuth, Jonnu Smith. I mean, if I was going to start one of them, I would start Jonnu, but I'm not really super excited about that. And then we know the defensive rankings. I've gone over them, but Vikings at 4. I have the Steelers. I dropped down a little bit. They're at 8 right now. I have the Steelers ahead of the Patriots, just because I think Carson Wentz is going to take some sacks and it could be a little messy. And I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. Let's move on to the next game here. Washington versus Atlanta. Give me 1 second. Hold on, guys. Okay. Let's see. All right, so Atlanta Falcons 2-1 taking on 1-2 taking on the Washington Commanders. Falcons are at home in this one. Jaden Daniels looks like he's going to play. Falcons offense 31st in the NFL. Of course, when he scores 0 points, that's going to skew, especially when you've only played 3 games. So that's skewed pretty hard. But that offense looked absolutely terrible. In this matchup here, I have Jaden Daniels, guys, as my quarterback. 9 this week. Many situations you're going to just have to start him. Odds are Bo Nix, Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Caleb Williams, Drake May, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson. Those guys are not going to be available to you to go and start over him. I have all those guys ahead of him. So that's where I have Jaden Daniels at 9 against Atlanta. And then I have who cares? Michael Penix at 21. I mean, at this point, you're not starting Penix, even though it's a good matchup. It is a good matchup. That secondary is not very good for Washington. So yeah, I totally get that. Let's see. All right, let's see what else we got here. For the running backs in this one, obviously you have Bijan. I don't really want to have to go over that too much. Bijan at 8. Bill Krosky Merritt, I didn't have high anyway, 33. But Chris Rodriguez is going to be interesting, guys. I mean, gotta consider moving him up. Bill Krosky Merritt hasn't practiced much this week, and Rodriguez is getting touches. So I have Rodriguez and Merritt at 33 and 34. At the wide receiver position, I don't have Drake London that high. I have him at 14. I have Deebo Samuel at 19. I have Darnell Mooney decently high, 38. I think he's a solid flex play this week. And I mean, if you're looking for somebody on Washington to play, if Terry's out, Jalen Lane. Jalen Lane could be a very, very sneaky play this week. I would consider, if Terry's out, I would play Jalen Lane over Travis Hunter. I'll come out and say that. I'd still play Tyquan Thornton over Jalen Lane, but I would put Jalen Lane right there. I would play him over Travis Hunter this week if Terry's out. So call me a hater, but I'm just being realistic right now. Travis Hunter's just not involved. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Now let's move on to the Saints game. Buffalo Bills wide receivers, you don't care about them, do you? I mean, we're talking Keon Coleman. I have Keon at wide receiver 47. I have Shakir at wide receiver 53. I talked a lot. You're not starting any of them. Now, Chris Olave, you are starting wide receiver 28. Shaheed is interesting at 51. Spencer Rattler did come out and say he's going to try to push the ball and be more aggressive this week. So I mean, I have Rattler, decent, not decently, not Rattler. I have Shaheed decently enough high. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. And then at the tight end position, got to give it up for Dalton Kincaid. He's been really good this year so far. I have Kincaid at tight end 13 because, again, game script wise, I worry that, this could get away from them. And then I have Juwan Johnson at 8. Juwan Johnson, man, if you got him, cheers. That was a free gift because he's going to be really good all year he's at least for now, unless things drastically change. Now Buffalo Bills, I have as my defense 3. You're not starting the Saints this week. Not even worth talking. They're my number 32nd ranked defense. You don't care about that. Move over to Cleveland. Cleveland, Detroit. In this one, you have the Detroit Lions 2-1 at home, taking on the Cleveland Browns 1-2. Cleveland, impressive win last week against the Green Bay Packers. Very, very impressive win. You're talking about two teams at the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Lions, super well put together, a team that's going to come out ready to go. Browns, got to give it to them. I mean, they fought on the road, against the Packers and won that game. I would say the difference here is that the Lions, much better offense. I know that sounds crazy because we saw the Lions lose to the Packers, but that was just a tough matchup for that Lions team coming out first game. A lot of new faces on that offensive line against a really good defense. But ultimately, Lions are going to push the pace and score points, and the Browns are going to have to try to play really good defense and run the football and control the tempo in this one. Now, for the pieces in this game, at the quarterback position, I have Jared Goff at 22. I don't have him that high. I have the running backs much, much higher in this offense. I have Jahmyr Gibbs at 4. I expect him to get a lot of work. I have David Montgomery at 30. Dave Montgomery's still a solid play this week. I just have him ranked lower because the ceiling I don't think is that high. It's a tough matchup, but I think volume could be there for him. I think he could score a touchdown if they're up in this game. I expect him to be able to get into the end zone. So that's where I have that. Moving on to the wide receivers in this one, I have let's see. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown at number 4 in this matchup here. And then I have Cedric Tillman. I have a 46. I have Jared Judy at 63. They could be playing catch up in this one. Jamison Williams, I have him at wide receiver 40. It's a tough matchup, and he's volatile anyway. So you're talking about a team that can, likely a good chance that they're winning and they don't have to throw the football. And then you have a guy that's up and down volatile, not super consistent on a week by week basis. Let's see. Let's see. All right, moving on to the tight end position in this one. Sam Laporta. I don't have Sam Laporta very high this week. I have him at tight end 11. Again, Lions, these pass catchers don't need to do a ton in this matchup here. So Sam Laporta, I have him at number 11 for this matchup. And then I have David Njoku at tight end 18. I have him below Harold Fannin Jr. Just it's a tough tight end room right now. Njoku's doing enough to get you like an 8 burger, like 7-8, but he's not scoring. Then maybe they're playing from behind, and I think it could help both of those two guys, but really tough for him to decipher at the moment. Let's move on to the next game: Tennessee Titans and the Houston Texans. Yeah, you have a 0-3 Tennessee, the Houston Texans at home versus the 0-3 Tennessee Titans, a divisional matchup here. I mean, man, like I would be really. I mean, this is the Titans have nothing to lose in this game. I mean, this is a game. If you're the Texans, man, like you're playing tight because you have everything to lose in this matchup. I mean, they're favored -7. Over under is 38.5. I mean, that's really freaking low. But I mean, 12 points on average for the Texans, and Titans are projected. I mean, Titans have 17. I mean, Texans are scoring the lowest amount of points on the year. That offensive line is terrible. Titans, though, their front seven, it's pretty solid. I think Nico Collins, though, I like him this week. CJ Stroud, have him at quarterback 24. Cam Ward, I have him at quarterback 29. I'm not putting any of those guys in my lineups in a game that looks like it's going to be really low scoring. At running back, you have Nick Chubb at running back 32, Tony Pollard at running back 27. None of these guys crack my top 24. It's just not a really exciting game, guys. Nico Collins, of course, you're starting him. Calvin Ridley is the guy that people might want to hear about. I have Calvin Ridley at wide receiver 41. Derek Stingley, there's a chance he doesn't play in this matchup, guys. So that could maybe help out Calvin Ridley, you would hope. But yeah, I mean, this is just a really gross game. Christian Kirk, I have at wide receiver 42. And honestly, I would not fault you for starting Christian Kirk this week over Calvin Ridley. Looked good. A lot of volume in his first game. So let's see. All right, I'm going to be grabbing a co-host. We have one more gentleman that's going to be joining me here. So give me 1 second. Let me send him over the link. I know this is a tight operation that I'm running here right now. So let me send that over to him. All right. So let's see. So I went over this game. I have Texans as my number 1 defense on the week. I love the Texans this week. Almost through most of the games. We're not going to get to all the games. A lot of the games I wanted to talk about. Let's just see. Is there anyone? I don't want to go through all these. I want to get to some of your questions that are still here, guys. Let me take a pause on this and let me answer some questions. Let's see. I'm going to go to the more recent questions here. I'll start from the top. Dick Dick Bick 96 said, should I trade JT for Puka? I have Gibbs, Scat, Corum as backups. My wide receivers are Wilson, McConkey, and Pickens. Who are your starters? I mean, so you have Gibbs and Scat as your starters. In my experience, it is harder to find running backs or people that are willing to trade running backs. If you trade JT, where I'd rather have Puka over JT, don't get me wrong, but your wide receiver room is much better. I mean, you're talking about Corum as your back. I mean, are Gibbs and Scat your? Who are your? Give me more context on your team here, because of course, in a vacuum, I would much prefer JT over Puka. I'm sorry, Puka over JT. But if you're telling me that your running backs are Gibbs, Scat, and Corum, then that's pretty tough. Ray GQ, I'll get to you, LeBron. So let me get to Ray GQ's question. Appreciate it. If you guys are still here and I haven't answered your question, just say I'm here and I will scroll back up and get to it. RGQ said, I need help starting 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex in a half-point PPR. St. Brown, Nico, Rome, Keenan, QJ, running backs Kyron, Chuba, Benson, Judkins, Pacheco. 3 wide receivers here. I'll start with the wide receivers first. St. Brown, Nico, Rome. Don't overthink it. Obviously, you're starting those 3. I'm sure you already know that. Kyron and Chuba, you're starting those 2. And then from here, it gets murky, right? You need to make one. You need to add 1 guy in the flex, right? Is it Benson? Is it Judkins? Is it Pacheco? It's definitely Benson over Judkins and Pacheco. Is it Keenan or QJ over Benson? I would go with the volume in Benson. Keenan and QJ have been awesome, but they might really be up in that game. And I don't want to play tag like who's it between these wide receivers right now. And I know it's tough because those guys are playing really well. I'm going to pull Will up in just 2 minutes here. Let me catch up on these last 2 questions. LeBron said ETN and AJ Brown for CeeDee Lamb. I'm 1 and 2, need some help. Well, no, you can't do that. I mean, if you're 1 and 2, CeeDee Lamb, if you're giving up CeeDee Lamb to get ETN and AJ, I can understand it. It's a tough spot that you're in as you're 1 and 2. And so sometimes, you're really, look, you're 1 and 2, you feel desperate, you want to make a move, but you might be able to get better than AJ Brown and ETN, but I don't think it's a bad trade. And CeeDee's not helping you while he's on your bench and he might be gone for a few weeks. So now if this is opposite and you're telling me you're trading both those guys for Lamb, and you're 1 and 2, this isn't going to help you. I mean, you're trading for a guy that's not playing and is not going to be playing for the next couple weeks. RGQ said, appreciate it. Exactly what I was thinking. Not a problem, man. Thanks for jumping in. You said you're getting the Brown side. Okay, so yeah, I'm okay with that. I would maybe like a little bit better, but beggars can't be choosers. And if you're in a tight spot, I mean, you're 1 and 2, so you don't have to panic here. Is your team terrible? If your team's terrible, then all right, fine. But I mean, we're 1 and 2. The sky's not falling. I think you can maybe hold out another week unless you know your team best. I don't know what the rest of your roster is, but if you're telling me, hey, like your team is in shambles, then okay, fine, make the move. But I would like to hold out. I would like to hold out here if I could, even though you're 1 and 2. But you don't want to get too far behind. But again, like, what's the rest of your team looking like? Is your team decimated because they lost Lamb? How bad is your team? All right, so I'm going to pull up Will, and then I'll start Christian Kirk over Cup in the flex. Dave, we'll get to your question in just a second, then 3PC fail, and then Bob Hope. I'm pulling up Will right now. Will, what's up, buddy?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. Just happy to be on with you, man. Happy for football and to be sharing the same beverage.
Oh, yeah, you got the perpetuals? Nice.
Cheers to you, brother.
Cheers, dude. My wife loves these, but dude, they're so expensive, man.
Really? Well, I guess where you're at, huh?
Well, I mean, you're talking about a 12-pack of beer for like $36.
What?
Yeah, how much?
20 where I'm at.
I ain't getting them for 20. I freaking wish, dude. I mean, maybe I don't know how close you are to the distributor. You might be a little closer. I don't know where they make these.
Yeah, I'm like 45 minutes from Trogs.
Yeah, so that might be why.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, we'll get to tonight's game. let's catch up on some of these questions real quick, and then
Yeah.
we can get this nice game. Do you have anything planned? Do you have I mean, I know you're planning on talking about some betting and stuff like that. Do you have anything planned that you want to share from that standpoint?
Yeah, if you want to do that now, unless you want to hit the
Well,
questions.
yeah, we'll hit the questions first, and
Yeah.
then we can swing over to that.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. Dave B said, "I'm 0-3. Should I make either of these trades? Give up Javante and Rashi Rice for London? I like that. Or give up Pollard and Rice for Rome. My other running back is Chase Brown. I would probably go the Pollard and Rice side because I like Javante more than I like Pollard. And I like Rome, and you can make the case that Rome could absolutely outscore London this year. I like London still. I'm not giving up on him, but you're giving up a worse running back, and you're getting the more consistent wide receiver right now in Rome. What are your thoughts, Will?
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. I would take Javante over Pollard. I love Rome. I think that Caleb Williams is gonna come through this year. He looks good.
Yeah.
But I'm going Javante here on that. I'm going the Javante side.
Okay, cool. So you're keeping Javante, but you would give up the Pollard and Rice to get Rome side.
Yes.
Then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Three epic fail. I always go 3P, and then I realize that this is epic fail, just spelt differently. Super flex start 2, May, Murray, Daniel Jones. I'm gonna go with May. I could see a world where you start Daniel Jones over Murray. I mean, Daniel Jones has been awesome. I do have some concerns about Murray tonight. Tough defense. Daniel Jones, I have at 12, and I have Murray at 13. So I would go with Daniel Jones over Murray tonight. And I'm definitely starting May. Do you have a lean on this?
Again, right there with you. I'm starting May and Jones.
Okay.
May's rushing has looked good.
Yeah, he looks good. I mean, he's going up against a bad defense. And Murray's got a tough matchup. So does Daniel Jones, but I trust Daniel Jones crazy enough over Kyler at this point. Bob, what's up? Said Ertz or Pitts, Myers or Hampton in the flex PPR. Yeah, I mean, I like Jacoby Myers this week, but I'm going to go with Hampton against that Giants defense. Really, really looking rough. And then Ertz over Pitts is interesting. I know Ertz, I know he holds a little special place in your heart, Will. I have Ertz at 10 this week, and I have Pitts at 16. So I would go with Ertz, and then I would go with Hampton here. What about you?
Yeah, I almost want to lean Pitts,
Okay.
only because of the targets. The targets are there finally. And you got to go Hampton for sure. So I'd go Pitts and Hampton.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, Pitts is interesting. Like, got to assume that offense bounces back. I just traded for him recently, and he's looked good. He's looking solid. So, Tiago said, need a running back and a flex. BTJ, Kyron Williams at third, and Benson. Who do I start sit? Yeah, I mean, I think you're starting Kenneth Walker for sure for me. And then I'm probably, I mean, I answered this before between Benson and BTJ. Benson's a safe play. But the ceiling is not as high. BTJ is the scarier play with a lower floor, but the higher ceiling. So definitely Walker, but then I would weigh the risk reward between, do you want the safe play or do you want the high upside? And if that is the case, BTJ upside, Benson would be the floor. You?
Yeah, I think if it's standard, I'm going Walker and Benson. If you've got any PPR involved, I mean, I think you still go both of them. I would temper expectations for Benson. Surprised if you see a lot of DeMarcado. The Seahawks, I think they've held. I was looking up some stats today. Average 76 rushing yards for running backs. So just keep that in mind. It's a good thing that it's Thursday night, not Sunday, when you have to make this decision.
Yeah, that is true. Technically, you could technically. I mean, you're making the decision where you're gonna. The tough thing is, I hate starting a lot of guys on Thursday nights because it really is such a buzzkill if you don't have a good night. Then you just shoot. But then honestly, sometimes it takes the edge off for the weekend because you're just like, you know what, I can just kind of breathe and not have to sweat out the weekend because I know that I'm shot.
Yeah, and I think honestly for me, this answer is more of just not trusting BTJ yet.
Yeah,
that's really all it is. I mean, he's going to come through, I think, eventually, but right now, I can't do it.
I'm with you. Yeah, I mean that's why I said BTJ is the highest ceiling guy out of Benson and him, but I think floor play probably Benson and Walker. And again, if you're like, hey, I know I'm probably not going to win this week, and I need to swing upside, then I would go with BTJ and Walker.
Yeah.
The Citizen said if Swift doesn't play, who starts for Chicago? I would say Monungai. Yeah, I would say Monungai.
I don't know if I would start him, but yeah.
I mean, hey, you never know. Is Swift still hurt? I mean, what's the injury report?
You can look it up.
Let's see, dealing with a new injury after the quad. So he's got another injury. Wow. Well, the Citizen, I appreciate that. So much goes on throughout the day. I just saw this now from you, and I think I dropped Kyle Monungai in a league, but nobody picked him up, and I dropped him today. Okay, no, I didn't drop him. Let's see. Monungai is the guy to own. That's what I'll say. Number one. But yeah, I mean, Monungai is not really available anywhere in my leagues. But yeah, I mean, Swift, man, like fucking
hip injury too. That's rough. Yeah, it's hard to trust it. Yeah, Swift's been a disappointment for a long time now.
Yeah, we know what we're getting with him, man.
Yeah.
Alicia said, I have Marv. I have McMillan. What's up, Alicia? B-Rob, Genty, and flexing Pearsall. Egbuka, do I shuffle my flex around to get Judkins starting? I also have Devonta Smith and Godwin on my bench. So, yeah, I would like to find a way to start Devonta Smith. I guess my question is, are you saying you're starting Brian Robinson? Is there another B-Rob I'm not thinking of here?
Maybe, but
Bijan it might be Bijan Robinson.
But that wouldn't be in the flex, I don't think. I mean, that would be your RB, right?
Yeah, Alicia, send this back to us. Obviously, you're in the Discord, so we'll
shuffle my flex.
We'll answer that. Bijan. Okay, so Bijan, and this is just more or less. So she's saying she has McMillan. Okay, so yeah, you're starting B-Rob and Genty. You're flexing Pearsall and Egbuka, and then you're asking, should you try to shuffle or flex around to get Judkins in or somehow Devonta? I would start Devonta Smith over Marv. So if you have Marv, I would in the lineup. Okay, so she's starting Marv at wide receiver and McMillan and flexing Pearsall. And flexing Buka. I would take Marv out and put Devonta Smith in. And I would leave McMillan in there and keep Godwin on the bench. I wouldn't try to force Judkins in your lineup right now because he's got a tough matchup with the Lions this week.
Yeah, no need to force him. If you have him, you got to use him. I would feel happy and comfortable doing so, but there's no need to force it.
Yeah. Tiago said, appreciate it. Cheers. Thank you for the answer. No problem, man. Thanks for hopping in. All right. So we got a couple of questions here. We're going to rattle these off. I'll try to go through them quicker so we can get to the preview for tonight. Manuel said, choose two, Genty, Benson, Chuba. Genty and Chuba. I think we'll both probably agree there. Master God said Kenneth Walker or Benson. I think we both agree Kenneth Walker.
Yep.
D Money said Egbuka, Benson, or Kenneth Walker at the flex full PPR. I'm going with Egbuka against the Bucks.
No question.
Not against Bucks, against the Eagles. Bob said, should I start Benson or Hampton? I would say Hampton. He said, I think you answered it. Yep. Sorry. That's okay. We did answer that, but yeah, Hampton. Alexander said start two, Kyler, London, Kamara, and the super flex. I would start Kyler and I would start London. Kamara, I just worry more about, then maybe it gets away from them and then he's just not like, maybe he gets phased out second half because they're playing.
You just can't trust it either. I mean, not that you can trust London, but something's going to pop at some point.
Volume at least has been there for Kamara. I would say that Kamara is like the safe play, but I would go with Kyler in London here. That's kind of how I look at it. Alicia said, thank you guys. No, thank you, Alicia. Appreciate you hopping in the Discord too. Eric from the shower. This is Hoff's buddy. I had to jump into Hoff's league and take over for a team. He said, check your trade requests. Get back to me. I'm going to say live right here, Eric. I didn't love the offer. I'm probably going to counter, but give me a chance.
What is it?
I get off. It was, let's see.
It was that underwhelming that you can't even remember what it was.
No, but I sent him an offer first. It wasn't even it wasn't that bad. He wants to give me Kyron and Metcalf, and he wants to get A-Chain and Harrison. I like Metcalf a decent amount more than Harrison, but not enough to move A-Chain for Kyron because I just love A-Chain. If I'm gonna move A-Chain,
it's pre-draft.
Yeah, it's a keeper too. But if I'm gonna move A-Chain, I want like I mean Kyron's still really good too, but I just would have a little bit of a better upgrade at wide receiver. Michael Hall said, "I'm only sending a super check because Will is here. Appreciate it, man.
Love you, Hall. Thanks."
Yeah, we'll get you on. Hall will get back on here soon. We'll do us three soon. Incognito said trade away Lamar and Flowers for Kyler, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Saquon.
You can do better.
Yeah, I think you can do better too. I mean, granted, Saquon's best player in the deal here, but I think you can do better.
Send some options.
Yeah. Alicia said smash that like button. Appreciate that. Oh, wait. You know what? I just skipped over a couple here. Hold on. Jackie said start Christian Kirk or T. Higgins. I would start T. Higgins. You said Kirk. I say Higgins. Yeah. I know he's going up against Denver, and it's a tough matchup, but he had a decent game against Riley Moss and the Broncos last year, Higgins. It's a mismatch.
Was Chase in that game?
Yeah, Chase was there, and Chase had a good game too. Burrow was obviously playing, though. But I would go with Higgins in that matchup. Kirk does have a really good matchup too, but I would go with Higgins. But we're almost caught up here. Bryce said, would you trade Josh Allen and Ricky Pearsall for Henry and Jaden Daniels? It depends. I mean, if you need a running back, for sure. I mean,
if you need a running back and you have good wide receiver depth.
Yeah, on the surface, I mean, how much of a drop off is Allen from Daniels? 1 or 2 points per game, maybe. Though Daniels is already hurt a little bit, which is concerning. But the Henry is such a massive upgrade. So, trade accepted already. Getting Genti and Ibuka, giving Bowers and Chase Brown. Yeah, I mean, that's a win for me.
Please.
Yeah, I mean, it's a win for me. I mean, Bowers has still got this knee injury, dude, where, like, I know, like, he's just, I don't know. I didn't understand drafting Bowers, like, second round. I know a lot of people liked him. He shared his roster, too. May, Genti, Pollard, Adunze, JSN, Juwan, Ibuka, Golden. Yeah, I mean, I'm good with this. Yeah. That's fine.
100%, dude. Yeah. 100%. Genti's gonna be fine.
Yeah, and
once they figure it out, I think. Once they figure it out. Once they figure that offensive line out and maybe just put somebody else in there to run it.
All right, we're gonna answer Michael. He said he got Bowers in the 4th. Well, that's completely different than that's I would have taken him too. So different than him in the 4th and him in the 2nd. We'll answer Michael and then Will. I want you to get ready because we're gonna go over the bets for tonight. So
yeah, let's do it.
Michael said 12-team full PPR, 3 wide receivers, 1 flex. I have no number 1 waiver priority. Should I use it to get IE Manor? I have Olave, Flowers, Harrison, Pearsall, D. Mooney, or Coker. I can get Horton or Washington for free. Yeah, I would go. I prefer IE Manor rest of the season over Washington and Horton, but I prefer. I honestly I like Washington's involvement, but the one thing I would say about Torrey Horton, and I got to give credit to Matt Kelly, the Podfather from Player Profiler, because he put up a really good point. Horton is playing on the outside. He won the outside role as a 5th-round wide receiver rookie. That is significant. Like to be playing on the outside as a starter. As a 5th rounder, like they don't coaching staff, like it's different if it's like a 2nd or 3rd rounder, like, you feel like you got to push the guy into the lineup or try to, but like 5th rounders got to prove it. And like the fact that he's there. So I like Horton a lot. But I'm fine with IE Manor too, or maybe you don't use it at all. I mean, if it depends too. Sometimes you have waivers and then you have free ad pickups right after. If that's the case, then I would not spend that number 1 burn on IE Manor because you have wide receivers here: Pearsall, Flowers, Olave. I don't know I hope you have a better number 1 than that. But I don't know if I would burn that waiver priority. I think I would hold out. So that's how I look at it. All right, well, let's talk about tonight's game, man. I talked a little bit about that. I'm going to pull up on the screen just the matchup in general, just so we have something visually here. And and let's go for it, man. So in terms of tonight, right? So we have. Oh, wait, I just dropped you off the screen here. Hold on.
That's right. No one needs to see my mug.
There you go. All right. So we got Seattle, we got the Cardinals. Yeah, I mean, Seattle and Cardinals both 2-1. Significant difference in terms of points scored, 29 points for Seattle, points per game, 20 for the Cardinals. Seattle's favored at 1.5 on the road. I will say off the bat, I am taking Seattle minus 1.5 on the road here. I think that's free money for me. But talk to me about, what are you thinking tonight, bets wise? What do you got?
I think it's I feel confident in some of the things I'm going to say here, but I also want to remember like it's a divisional play, so you just never know.
Divisional games are always weird.
You just never know. But yeah, I'm with you. Taking Seattle, negative 1.5 there. I think it's important to remember the Seattle defense. Some of the things I looked up today and yesterday, just get some understanding of just how good they really are. Number one in DVOA. It's only 3 weeks, but still, number one defense adjusted value over average. Yep. Less than 16 points allowed per game. That's second in the league. It looks like 90, less than 90 rushing yards per game. That's seventh in the league, right? But the problem here, this is where I was talking about the Benson versus DeMarcado, is they've allowed the most catches to receiving running backs in the league. Yeah. So, if you're starting Benson, I understand you're starting Benson. You probably have to start Benson, but, just temper expectations this week. He'll be fine rest of the season. I think just this week might be a little weird. One thing about it with the Kenneth Walker conversation and the Zach Charbonnet conversation is Carolina's defense. They've only let up 76 yards. I'm sorry, not Carolina. Cardinals defense has only let up 76 yards per game. That's fourth in the league, right? And that was against Kamara, Hubbard, and CMC. So you're not talking about just a bunch of schlubs here, right? These are legit good running backs. As far as some of the betting was going, let me pull it up here again. I apologize, I didn't write it down. So I know I was taking Horton, Torrey Horton for an anytime touchdown for sure. I think he's got three. Does he have 3 touchdowns on the season?
I think he's got a touchdown, and I don't know if it's every single game. I know he's got at least 2.
Yeah, I think he has 2 in one and 1 in another. I think.
Yeah.
But sorry, I'm pulling it up right now. I apologize for holding up there. I was also, like I said, I'm going with minus 1.5 for sure. I'm going with the over as well. And then it was, I can tell you here right now.
Dude, while you're doing that, do we like DeMarcado's rushing yards at 12.5? I mean, Seattle's a really strong run defense, but dude,
yeah.
It's minus 109. It's minus 112 on the under, 115 on the under. So, I mean, the market favors the under there, but it's interesting.
Yeah, that's an interesting, if you're just sprinkling something, that's not a bad idea to sprinkle a little bit on that. I mean, 12.5, you said?
Yeah, 12.5. I'm gonna put like half a unit on it just for funsies.
Yeah, why not? I got Kenneth Walker, even though I know I said that they shut down your running backs for the most part. I'm still going to go. They're 60 plus rushing yards is plus 140. If you're throwing the parlay together, like I was doing here, like we usually do at the end of Thursday night previews, is like just throwing together a fun parlay.
What book are you using?
DraftKings, but I usually go between DraftKings and FanDuel, and then compare it off of MGM and Caesars.
Okay.
And actually, oddly enough, they all match.
Let me ask you, do you have the Be Better app? So
no, I don't.
So Be Better and I know the guys over there. They're good dudes. So they take every single book. So so they pretty much take every single book, and they give you they show you the plus EV on what every line is for each book. And so you can kind of find some nice value if you have some accounts on other books. So I'll show you here quick. So let me pull this up really quick. Can you see it or
No,
no?
I can't.
Dude, what the frick? Why does it do that sometimes, man? Hold on.
No, you're good.
Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yeah, so if you go to like this is like the top EV plays right now. And so like Kenneth Walker, to score a touchdown, like Fanatics has him at plus 175. And if you click on it,
Oh, nice.
it'll pull it up and you can kind of see, what else is going on. Let me see if I
That's
can.
awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I like that.
yeah. Do you have anything?
Someone just asked if Seahawks defense a play or should I go get one off the waivers? I think it depends on what's on the waivers.
Yeah, it depends on what's on the
I think
waivers.
I think the Cardinals are going to put some points up. That's why I'm going with the over. So
I like Seattle. I think Seattle's defense is a good play.
it
Um,
is. It is.
I'm okay with going with Seattle.
They're
Let me.
good at pressuring too. So you got to
Yep.
see Kyler Murray, really make some things happen, which might
So
work in Marvin Harrison's favor. Honestly, I mean, he might just dump off to McBride, or does he? Does it give Marvin Harrison some time to work around and get open? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. I think Kyler could have a tough day. So this is a good example here, though. So
Okay.
so right now you have Trey Benson, and if you look at you can get him at his 56 yards on DraftKings minus 110 for the over, but you could also get him 2 yards lower down here on FanDuel at minus 112, right? Which is
Oh,
pretty
that's
much a
beautiful.
comparable
Look at
line.
that.
And then you could also get him at 114 if you have, Rain. I think it's Bet Rivers. That's what
Yeah,
the R
Bet
one is.
Rivers.
So it's like kind of neat stuff. And then when you start to ladder stuff too, you can find really good value. So I don't know, I like Bet365. So if you liked him to, have, I'm not taking Trey Benson to have 120 yards, but plus 114 compared to DraftKings, who has him at, plus 10, 1080,
Right.
a lot of value there. So that's kind of one of the interesting thing. Be Better is a good app.
Yeah, it's cool. Be Better is awesome.
Yeah, it's a good
Send that to
app.
me. Yeah.
So by the way, he said Falcons, Jags, 49ers. Yeah, I would go with Seattle. I don't care. I get this a lot, and I just want to say, if you have the only thing you should worry about when you have a defense in fantasy and you have players going against that defense is quarterback. Don't worry about the rest,
Yep.
right? Unless you just don't like the matchup in general, fine. Trey McBride this is a great matchup for Trey McBride, right?
Yeah.
Very, very bad at covering. Again, they're a plus matchup when it comes to tight end points allowed. So I like Trey McBride tonight, but I still like that defense. I would worry about starting Kyler. That's why I have Kyler outside the top 10, where normally he's inside my top 10. I have met quarterback 13. So again, but just to answer that.
And I think you say that because these players are going to get yards, they're going to get catches. They might not score, but they're going to get usage. So
Yep.
it's very important, like you said. Only the quarterback should be worried about that. And speaking of Trey McBride, that's who I just captained in my DFS with Hoff tonight.
Did he throw a didn't he say he was doing a one tonight or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably should get into that.
Should be in the chat.
That's his brother's DFS pool.
Yeah.
What else do you got? Anything specific?
I don't think there's anything specific. The parlay, if you want to do the same game parlay, and this is something you do, I've never been huge into betting, but like the parlays are just fun to kind of throw some stuff out there. Is I would take the over, I would take Seattle minus 1.5, and I would take Horton anytime touchdown.
Okay. I like it. I'm looking here.
I think that pays out about 13 plus 13, I feel like. Be Better app, because that's awesome, especially if you're putting together parlays. You know what I mean? Or, I mean, even if you're just
you can. They have a whole parlay thing where you can generate it, and then it'll tell you what the best odds are on each book. Good dudes. I've talked. I'm friends with them. They're from Canada actually. They're a
Nice.
good group of guys. Um,
Nice.
let's see what else do I like. So the cool thing is like if I pull up Be Better, let's see is if there, let's just see if there's anything that so if you go to find plays, and you can just find like let's see if we could just do NFL. Let's see. So these are some of the good calls tonight that they have. So you can get DeMarcado at plus odds for 14.5. I'd rather just take him 12.5 at that
Yeah.
minus like 110 that I told you that I said. I'd rather just take him a little lower than that. Charbonnet under 39.5 rushing yards. Interesting. I didn't even think Charbonnet would have that high of yards total. 39
Well,
and a
he's
half.
healthy. He's supposed to be playing tonight. I mean, and they like to split.
I know,
And
man.
I think you're going to see Walker get shut down more than you would expect. So maybe that's not a bad one.
He's at
that's
28.5 on DraftKings.
Hmm.
Well, no, I'm sorry. He's not at 28.5. That's what he's averaging. Let's see. His rushing yards on DraftKings is 28.5. So yeah, I mean, dude, the fact that the over under on 43.5. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends on how much you think he'll be involved.
I wonder, are there any? Do they have any like defensive props in there?
They do.
I wonder, like, what the sacks for Seattle prop would be.
Sacks for Seattle is interesting because they don't have many. They only allow you to bet on Byron Murphy and Leonard Williams, and
Okay.
it's tough. It's tough betting on
Yeah.
Well, hold on. It's tough betting on a D tackle like Williams. I mean, they're not giving you many options because they don't want you to cash here. Like, I mean, Leonard Williams 0.3 on average. That means he has 1 sack through 3 games. Byron Murphy 0.8. So maybe he has like a sack and a half sack through 3 games. That's probably what it is.
So it's individual then.
Well, did the injury report come out tonight? I'm sure it did, of course. But
what it had to.
I want to know what the Cardinals injury report is because they had 4 starting all offensive linemen on the injury report.
Right.
See, someone said that the injury report, their final injury report, but that was yesterday. I mean, let's see who's playing, who's in, who's out. Let's see. Okay, inactives: Will Hernandez and Demontieri Jacobs. So that's good news for them because that means that a lot of their guys are
back.
Starters are in. Yeah, I don't know. Is Will Hernandez a starter for them though?
Looks like we might have a spammer in the chat there.
Oh yeah, we
can't do anything with it. Yeah,
sorry, I got it.
And DC had a good question here.
Yeah, before I answer DC, let's go to Jay. He said, I'm a 3-0, 0-3 Montgomery or Chase Brown, Pickens, Keenan. I would go with Pickens and I would go with Chase Brown. I know Chase Brown's been tough and Monty's got a tough matchup though. And I don't know. Chase Brown against Denver. Denver's linebackers are not good at covering. I don't think he's going to rush for much, but I think he can catch a lot of passes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I might actually go
Montgomery feels safer.
It feels safer, but that Browns defense is just too good. I actually might go Pickens and Keenan.
Well, I think it's Pickens or Keenan, so he's got to pick one running back, one receiver.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I think I'm going Chase Brown and maybe Pickens.
Okay. Yeah. And then let's grab Junk, who said Bo Nix or Drake May this week. Bo Nix against an underrated defense. No, Bo Nix is going against the Panthers. The Bengals. Yeah. I still prefer Drake May over Nix. I have Drake May as a top 5 play this week.
Yeah, it's definitely May.
DC said, someone please talk me into benching BTJ. I keep starting him and he keeps letting me down. Well, Will talked about it before. We both have hesitations on BTJ. I mean, it just depends on who you're benching him for.
Yeah, what are your options, I mean, I don't think it takes much to bench him. I'm never one of those like, hey, start your studs. Well, if the stud isn't performing, then I'm benching the stud for someone else who is.
Yeah, I'm with you. I gotta ban this and delete these comments. Another one came in. We get those a lot sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's like always the same kind of names too. Steve said, "I have Murray, Harrison Jr., and Benson. Should I start all three? I don't want to start all three if I can avoid it.
What are your other running back options there? His wide receivers are Lamb, Godwin, Hunter, Juwan Jennings, and Tucker.
Yeah, Jennings might not play this week too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're in a bind. I think you have to start Murray. I mean, I think you have to start Harrison and I mean, I don't want to start all three. Do you have another quarterback option that's better? Do you have a better running back? But with those wide receivers, you kind of have to start Harrison. But I love it. I think you're in a tough spot.
Yeah, I'm good starting Marv there, but if you have other options for running back and quarterback, I would definitely look for them.
Jelly of the month said PPR. My flex is Juwan Jennings might be out. Drop Tillman for Trey Tucker or IU Manor for a spot start. I still have Tillman ahead of Trey Tucker this week. I'm also a Tillman truther, believer. So there's probably some bias there. But I think they're going to be in a negative game script, have to throw the football a lot. He scored a touchdown in 2 out of 3 games this year so far. I know Tucker's been awesome so far, but I think we're chasing a little bit with Trey Tucker, putting him in our lineup right now. And I could be completely wrong on him. IU Manor is interesting. Ridley gets Stingley, maybe IU Manor on the other side, but that's going to be a low scoring game. I don't really want to.
I think Stingley might be out.
I saw that
he's injured. Yeah,
I saw that he might be out.
Yeah,
I think I'd still start Tillman. Maybe IU Manor, but I'm not starting Tucker.
Yeah. So, real quick, not to go on a tangent here, but I kind of have a rule that I try to live by when I'm setting up my lineups in fantasy. It's like a rule of 3, right? So if they have one really good game, that's awesome. They're on my radar. I might pick them up off of waivers if I have room. If they have 2 good games, then I'm definitely picking them up off of waivers, and they need to be on my bench. If they have 3 good games in a row, then that's a trend now at that point, and they need to be in my starting lineup, right? Maybe the 2 good games you put them in the flex if you don't have any other options, but. So with that to be said, for Trey Tucker, yeah, that game was amazing. But I don't think you're going to see that again this week, right? And in my opinion, especially if IU Manor isn't going to be shadowed the entire game, I got to go IU Manor. I think that he.
Well, and I think IU Manor is probably getting the worst of the 2 because Ridley's probably going to get Stingley. I would think.
Yeah, that's true. Well, but I mean, yeah, maybe I don't know. Ridley's been dropping everything. IU Manor's been better. If I'm a defensive coordinator, am I too worried about? I mean, yes, Calvin Ridley. Don't get me wrong, but am I too worried about him from what I've seen? Versus what IU Manor's been doing. I don't know. That's hard. I'm going IU Manor there.
By the way, Garofolo just said Terry McLaurin will not need surgery on his butt. But that's like the fact that you have to say that, like, just makes me think, like, dude, I don't want no freaking parts of Terry, dude.
No, it sucks because I love Terry his whole career, and then he finally has one really great year, and then this year, and yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy. Trent English, what's up, man? Said Benson or Drake London in the flex this week. I would go with Drake London pretty comfortably,
especially if it's PPR.
Yeah. Luke, I have BTJ plus Swift. Do I trade him for Kamara and Jameson Williams? I have good wide receiver. I'll get to you in a sec, Bob. I have good wide receiver depth, but need a better RB2. What do you think, Will?
Yeah, that's rough, especially with the extra injury, the new injury news. Jameson Williams, I feel
like I'd want more though. I think I just would want better than Jameson Williams. I mean, Kamara hasn't been great this year either. Neither is BTJ. I mean,
if you end up getting the Kamara Jameson side, if you do that, get Kendre Miller. I mean, his snap percentage continues to increase every week.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of bad press out of from him last year, but it's a new coach. I think he might, if you're going to get the Kamara side, make sure you have Kendre Miller. But I think I'm just sticking with BTJ and Swift. I mean, hopefully Swift's injury is fine. He just goes through. He's going to have a big week. If he plays this week, I think he's going to have a big week. So then you can get more maybe next week. Hold. I'm holding BTJ and Swift.
I would say the same. Bob said, "What do you think about the Packers defense or Pats?" I'm going to go with the Packers. Dallas is down 2 starting offensive linemen, no CeeDee Lamb. Yeah. They are on the road. Pats are home. I do typically like defenses that are at home. The one thing about the Pats is shitty defense versus shitty offense. So there's risk there that the shitty offense shows up and shitty defense doesn't. Whereas with the Packers, we know it's a really good defense. It's a solid offense, but they're missing a lot of guys. So I would go with the Packers.
Yeah.
Trenton said, appreciate you guys just traded Tet and Brees for Benson and London solely off thinking London comes back strong rest of the season. Yeah, I mean, if you said this before the season, people would say that's a really good trade. I'm kind of wishy-washy. I love Tet, but I think his ceiling is capped a little bit because of this offense right now. He's also got the calf injury. I do love Brees. I don't know. You could sway me either way because Benson and London. I mean, Benson, if you told me Benson and Brees rest of the season finished within a point or two on average from each other, I would be like, yeah, I'm not surprised. And I would prefer London at that point over Tet rest of the season. So
100%
it's a fine trade.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you like you said, like for like on the running back for the most part, and you upgraded your receiver.
By the way, I threw 75 on the Seattle to cover -1.5. Nice. I don't know, man. I just think Seattle's going to smash them tonight. I really do.
I think Sam Darnold's playing a lot better than a lot of people realize. JSN might finish the season as the wide receiver 1, unless Puka has something to say about it. They're definitely dangerous.
I'm with you. Trey McBride is plus 165 to score a touchdown, but I mean, it's just so hard. What are his receiving props? McBride, let's see. Damn, he's got a pretty high prop, man. His receptions for Trey McBride 6.5. Holy shit, it's a lot. That's a pretty big number for a tight end, man.
Yeah, but it's Trey.
It's
Trey. But here's the thing, though. I think that the Seattle defense is going to be pressuring Kyler all night. He's going to have to move around. He's going to have to figure something out on the fly pretty often. Who's it going to?
I would think McBride. I mean, he's the most reliable guy, man.
Oh yeah, and he's been the most reliable guy. He's been the most used guy. So that might not be a bad one.
Fuck it. I got Trey McBride as my tight end 1 this week. I was flirting around. I was gonna put him at tight end 1, and then I ended up putting him at tight end 5 because I was like, I worry about the matchup and stuff, but because of Kyler. But I mean, the fact that Vegas has him at 6.5 receptions at 60 yards. I mean, if he even falls into the end zone, we're talking about a 20-point night from McBride. Yeah. It'd
be hard for me not to put him as my tight end 1 in most weeks. I mean,
yeah,
that's the one tight end that you drafted high, and he's coming through on it. So
yeah, let's see. Access MIA said PPR pick 2, Tillman, Ridley, Cup, IU Manor. I mean, this is like picking through a pile of shit.
Oh, you're that low on IU Manor though?
What'd you say?
You're that low on IU Manor?
No, I like IU Manor, but
yeah,
I like Ridley more just off of I like IU Manor, but it's just my heart is still there for Ridley, so it's
I feel of course. I'm with you on that.
IU Manor makes more sense, but I feel like I would still go Ridley, and I would go with Cup here.
I'm going Cup and IU Manor. I wouldn't actually be. I know we keep talking about what can we sprinkle in this game for anytime touchdowns, but that might not be a bad anytime touchdown bet. I mean, see what it looks like on DraftKings here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll pull these real quick. Lucius said Benson or Brees Hall, half PPR. Brees. Lucius said also Benson or DK full PPR. I would go with Benson. And then Alyssa said PPR flex 1, Mason, Olave, Benson. I would go with Mason. You shook your head. I'm assuming you prefer DK.
No, I shook my head because it's a rough one. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Because I don't, like I said, I don't trust Benson to have a great week. But then DK, DK is one of those ones where everyone says you should just trust in DK, but I've never trusted in DK. And here's the thing: it's so crazy because he's never, if I remember correctly, some of the stuff research I was doing on the off season was he's never finished below his draft capital.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's super safe. But then it was kind of like, but my eyes in my fantasy teams say otherwise, it doesn't work out.
DK is going to be okay this year. He had a tough week last week. 17 targets, 10 receptions, 135. He scored twice. Right now, points per game, he's wide receiver 31 at the moment. It was a tough week last week, but yeah, I mean, DK is a guy that we've seen, outside of 2020, he's never finished. He's never finished better than 20 on a points per game basis at the wide receiver position.
Yeah.
So I mean, we're chasing that sophomore year from him. We just haven't seen it.
Right.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, it's okay.
I was just gonna say, with this one, Geno, Kyler, I think Geno's safer. They're pretty close in my rankings. So if you want safe, I'd go with Geno. I think ceiling, you go Kyler, but understand that there's some risk with Kyler tonight.
Yeah, I think Geno's going to have a pretty decent game.
Yeah, me too.
Kyler could, if he has one of those classic rushing games, but I think Geno's going to have Geno. I'm actually debating in a guillotine league to start over Baker Mayfield this week.
Yeah, I mean, right? I get it. I think I have them. I think I've Geno ahead of him this week, Baker.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that Baker's gonna flop by any means.
I think Baker's 16. I have Geno at 14.
Yeah, I think I might solidify it for me. I'll just have Geno in my guillotine.
Yeah, let's answer these last 2 questions and then let's build a parlay.
Let's do it.
All right. Danny, Phil's fan said, how about them Phillies? Hell yeah.
Go Phils. Save those bats for October, boys. Like every year, these bats get crazy, and then October comes and it's like they forgot how to fucking hit.
Honestly, I like it's nice to see them hot right now without Bryce and without Turner.
Yeah.
Like Turner
has been
out. Sosa looked great. I mean, it's also just like, what do you do with what's his face? The kid that they called up that's been playing for Bohm, that was playing for Bohm.
I can't think of his name. I can picture him because he looks like one of them old school ones, right?
I don't like
hair. He's got the build.
I don't like anything of his name, but I don't know how you keep him off. I don't know how you keep him.
No, he's got to stay.
It's tough.
He's got to stay.
He's obviously going to make the roster, but it's going to be tough. Do you carry 3 catchers with Marchand and Stubbs? Like, I don't think you carry 3, but like,
no, you can't.
I think Marchand has the vibe. I don't know, dude.
Marchand.
I mean, not Marchand. I think they said that they think Stubbs has the vibes, but whatever. Fuck it. Trey said, what's good? Should I start Dak or Sam Darnold? I would start Sam Darnold.
Darnold.
Superflex PPR Goff is my other quarterback, starting Kenneth Walker as well. Yeah, we're both on Darnold. Access I said PPR flex Devonta. Go Devonta Smith. It's a great matchup this week. Danny Finn's fan and the Phillies fan said start 1 flex, 1 wide receiver, 1 running back. PPR. Genty, Javonte, Ladd. You're sitting worthy until we see more.
Yep,
it's my thing. We need to see. Pray for the Finns. Pray for the Finns. That's for sure. Not Sosa. I'm talking about the young kid that came up. That's been good.
No, the blonde kid.
The
shit.
What's his face, dude?
Yeah, what's his face?
Uh, it's Otto Kemp. Otto Kemp. That's who I don't know if you were thinking about Otto Kemp. I was thinking about
No,
Otto Kemp.
I was thinking of
You're
batter.
probably thinking of Bader.
Yeah.
Bader's gonna start. I mean, Bader's the guy right now.
It's a beast.
Yeah, he's been great. Patrick said traded Chase Brown for Ladd. W. Yeah, I think that's a W.
Big W. Big W.
Especially if you're okay at running back. And then Brendan said, can't decide in my life. PPR Benson versus ETN. I have ETN slightly ahead of Benson.
Yeah, I'm going ETN, especially PPR.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, let's build a parlay and then we'll get out of here. 8-7. All right, what's your favorite? We'll start with you. What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite prop tonight? We both know that we both like the Seattle -1.5, right?
Yes, we know that. Yeah,
all right, so we'll put that in there. Who else?
Get my app up here again real quick. I keep wanting to call him Thornton, but I know that's not his name.
Torrey Horton.
Horton, yes. I have a Horton anytime touchdown.
You want to put that in there? All right.
I do. Yeah.
Right.
Listen, hold on. Here's the option, though. I think you get a Horton or a Cooper Kupp.
It says that I can't put Horton and the spread in the same game parlay. What the fuck is going on?
What app is that?
DraftKings.
Because I have it.
Hold on.
Oh, the spread closed. I'm sorry, the spread closed.
Are you fucking serious? Oh
yeah, the spread closed. Sorry, my bad.
That's all right.
I just had to take that out.
We'll go Horton.
Yeah, I would go Horton. And honestly, I think you could be okay if you wanted to take the over.
I don't like the over. Fuck. All right. How about I tease the over? I'll drop the over down.
Tease the over.
How about I drop the over to 39.5?
There you go.
All right, -197. So Horton and that gives us plus 525. Let's take Seattle money line since we can't get them on the spread.
Yeah.
Do you want anything else that's plus 950?
I mean, I'm always just.
Should we go McBride?
Insane.
No. Do you want to add McBride in there? I mean, we talk about how much we like him. We can get him at like 5 receptions, brings it up to plus 1,100.
Oh, 5 receptions?
Mm-hmm. I dropped it down. That's why.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Jalen Warren, Tommy.
Yeah, Jalen for sure.
Danny said Benson over receptions. What's Benson's receptions line? What's his receptions line?
If it's anything over 1.5, no.
Let's see. Let's see. Receptions. 3.5.
Why?
I would take the under on that. 3.5 at -142.
Yeah, take the under. Let's do it. Take the under.
That's plus 3,000.
Yeah, Danny Finn's fan. Danny Finn's fan. You take the over. We'll take the under. Let's figure out what happens.
3.5 is a lot, man.
Yeah, so 4 receptions for somebody who isn't a receiving running back.
I put 10 on it. It's 10 to win 200. It's Horton touchdown, under 3.5 for Benson, 5 receptions for McBride, over 39.5 on the total, and then Seattle on the money line.
Nice. Beautiful.
Danny said, you guys going to be on tomorrow, LOL. I don't know. I don't think we're going to be on tomorrow. We're always on Sundays, on Sunday morning. So we'll be here Sunday morning for, of course.
Get in that show.
Yeah, we'll be here.
Listen, let me tell you.
Go ahead.
Just from someone who was a listener to now gets to, talk some ball every once in a while with these geniuses. Get on that Sunday morning show because that is the best advice I've ever had for setting my lineups, for winning my leagues since 2020.
Yeah, it's a crazy show on the
it's
Sunday
crazy. It's rapid fire, but get your questions in, have them ready to go Saturday night. Get them in when you can because they're not just spitting out bullshit that everyone else is spitting out. They're not just, an echo chamber. They're telling you what they actually think. Not everyone agrees. Get on Sunday.
Danny said he'll tell you that he told us. So you can also comment back on the video once this closes
please.
out. Come back to the video and just leave us a comment. Marvin, I'm gonna get to you because I know you sent this before, and then I couldn't really answer because I was a little confused. Judkins, Kamara, Achane, or Pacheco. I need 2 running back spots and a flex. Okay, so yeah, I mean it's Achane for sure, and it's Kamara. And then
and
I would put
Judkins.
Debo over Johnston. Done deal.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that's how I feel. All right, we'll stay in the studio. Don't leave, folks. We will see you guys at least Sunday morning, same time on Sunday or different time with the early game. That's a good point. Early game is at 9:30. We'll still go live at 9, so we'll be live like 30 minutes before. I might go live earlier. Maybe I might go live at like 8:30, just because I have a wedding to attend on Saturday. And then I'm staying overnight, and so I'm going to do the show in the hotel in the morning. My wife's going to love that. And
After a wedding.
yeah. And then so I'll do it in the morning. So I might just do it for like the first hour and then pass it off to the rest of the guys. So we'll be there in the morning. Scott, appreciate you tuning in, of course, as always.
Thanks, Scott.
We'll see you guys on Sunday. Good luck with your lineups. And if you're not in the Discord, make sure you join to answer any questions you might have. Appreciate everybody that showed out, super chats, everything, and have a good night.